Would you like to support MonkeyWerx directly? Head over to patreon.com/MonkeyWerxUS. You'll be greeted with 4 membership levels. Starting at the first tier is Spider Monkey. This tier is $3 per month, gaining Discord benefits, exclusive access to ad-free content, live SITREPs, Q&As, and video archives. If that's not enough, step up to the next level of Howler Monkey. For just $5 a month, you'll not only have Spider Monkey's benefits, but you'll get exclusive discounts to the workshop plus voting voice on new products. Next up is Space Monkey. At $10 per month, this is the ultimate level of Overwatch. At this altitude, you'll gain access to no-ad content, full archive, voting power, workshop discounts, and monthly AMAs where you can ask Monkey anything. Lastly, for the MonkeyWerx superfan, you can become the Banana Knot. You'll get all the benefits of Space Monkey plus an exclusive MonkeyWerx item every month you are subscribed that you can't buy in the workshop. Head over to patreon.com/MonkeyWerxUS to begin your membership and be a part of a God-loving, patriotic community.
Welcome, folks. Mil-Spec Ops Monkey here. This is going to be your SITREP. It is Monday. It is 11 a.m. Central Time, coming to you from the great state of Texas, and it is 1/30/2023. We're almost through the month of January. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe, and bell for notification. We get the latest and greatest as things come out. I'm going to bounce on over here to our mini board, I guess you could call it, mini-me, and see what we got going on. Kicking it off with Skyglass, as always. Now, let's see, currently on screen, I only have 166 up. It's a light day, mainly because we've got weather moving through Texas. That's usually a big driver. We usually have trainers up that are equal to about 100. So that would put us around that median range that we typically see, about 250. But because of all the ice that's coming through this area, it is definitely lighter than usual. So, but let's do this. We'll take a look at what we got up in the sky. I'll look at the watch list, go through the stuff. Now that right there, as you can see on my screen, that's going to be Gitmo 842. A lot of people see that aircraft and they think, oh, you know what? Somebody's getting arrested or something's going on at Guantanamo Bay. That is actually the base commander. And I know that because a former base commander told me that is a base commander. So that's how we figured out who that was and what was going on. It goes back and forth out of Guantanamo Bay. It's his own little personal BE-20. He usually goes into Lauderdale or Jacksonville. So it's a big nothing. Anyway, all right, let's get over to the watch list. We got a lot to cover today because I will tell you, man, the Middle East is heating up like a junkie spoon. It is on fire. There's so much going on in so many different countries that we've got to kind of dig into and look at closer today, just so we kind of get that situational awareness of what is really happening in the world, right? So, all right, so over here to our watch list, you'll see we've got a couple things happening. We've got a little Navy logistics bird there in San Diego. It's kind of a normal. Some intelligence birds south of Tucson. That's normal, too. We've got a P-8 headed westbound. Then you get up here, we do have a B-52 coming out of Ellsworth, it looks like, over South Dakota. And then we've got that Q9 drone. All right, so that's going to be U.S. Border Customs and Border Patrol running right up there south of Winnipeg. A little G5 SAM flight, blue and white. And then the Weatherbirds. We've got the NOAA one that's airborne, little Homeland Security. We've got a couple NOAAs up today. We'll point those out here. LaSalle Aviation, that's going to be one of your civilian intel birds. There's Air Force Two. And let's see here. We can get a little closer. You guys see confirmation. Air Force Two. That's going to be Bob Marley and the Whalers headed southbound. We'll look at that on the TFR side of the house. And then that is actually our nuke sniffer. So N412 DE is actually up doing some stuff today. And we get down to South Florida. There's your NOAA. All right, that little Dash 6, another weather bird. So let's bounce on over here to Europe, see what we've got happening. Again, watch list stuff, right? Little V-22 popping out of southern UK, and then a P-8 up there. Looks like it ran down kind of to the northern side of Africa, doing a little peak there. And then this B-703, that is normally a joint star. I don't know. It does have a refueling boom on it, so I don't really know if that is actually a joint star or just a retrofitted B-703, which is kind of an old bird that's got some air refueling capabilities. So that's going to be your watch list. Let's get over to the heavies and see what we're looking at now. This is last 24 hours. You can see the streams. A lot of stuff coming and going out of Israel. Got some things headed out of Turkey. That's actually British. I say Turkey, sorry. Cyprus headed across Turkey. And then notice a lot of stuff coming and going in and out of Poland, right up there along that, tucked in on that corner between Ukraine and Belarus. That's an important data point. That's Germany and France delivering stuff. Okay, so a lot of things. You can see them leaving France, kind of scattered out everywhere. We've got a little activity there in Tangier. Just looks like a little C-130 came and went out of that area. So something headed out of Southern California. Looks like it's just a quick hop, probably over to Yuma. Got some things look like they've gone from Tampa over to Patrick Air Force Base. Remember, we got Spec Ops community there at Patrick, and some stuff happening there in the Carolinas and Georgia. A little kind of scattered out when it comes to the East Coast. Normally, we see a little more of a tempo. It looks to be just kind of Waffle House approach today, right? Scattered, smothered, and covered. So the Sharky birds we watch, the C-130s, they typically go down to Guantanamo Bay. So we'll watch, see what happens there. All right, and then over to the refuelers, we've got some activity going on down over Florida. Notice that one taking off out of the Keys, it looks like. And then we've have some stuff coming out of Georgia, running some routes over Georgia. That may be because Air Force 2 is headed down that general direction, and then we've got our normal set of air refuelers over the Northeast. Remember, these are a pretty good indicator of fighter activity, okay? Some stuff over central U.S., Oklahoma, Texas. Really light, actually, today for a refueling aspect. Then we get over to Europe. We got one bird coming inbound. And, it's really nothing else up there. That little line you see running across the map there, just disregard that. It's just a bad feed, okay? All right, R135s. Let's see where we're looking, why we're looking, right? That's going to be the big thing. So notice we got some activity coming out of California. That was a C-135 we saw on Friday. Looked like it went back over here to Dallas. Then we've got a little route running right along the Gulf Coast there, looking at stuff. Notice a little activity there over the panhandle of Florida. That right there, I do believe, is a calibration where it's doing that arc. And then that typically is calibration over the missile sites, okay? But again, R135, look at something here that's kind of right on that Nevada-Colorado border. Utah? Yeah, never mind. Hard to see, and sometimes those states get a little fuzzy in the old brain. So, all right. Again, R135, right? Looking at running south of Kaliningrad, getting all the way up into business deep, pushing right up there right alongside of St. Petersburg, Russia, which is interesting. And then just doing a little quick turn coming down, kind of working that whole Belarus-Ukraine border as they're probably just gathering data all the way and then landing. It looks like that one took off and landed in and out of Crete. And then we got this little activity over France. I don't know what's happening in France that they've got eyes on, but when you see the R135s and the drones looking at France closely, there's definitely something going on there, right? All right, now this one is the important data point because we just saw Iran get lit up, all right, all over the place. And then notice here we've got this one runs right up by the Syria border. Again, this is an R135. We'll look closer. I'll show you the aircraft here in just a second. Running along the Persian Gulf just to the southern border of Iran, just basically giving them a hard look up and down. And it's looking pretty far into that country. So really interesting, again, data point. Let's get over to Japan, see if we got any R135 activity going on. I'm not seeing it. Not seeing it. Just kind of give a little spin here. Yeah. Nope. Nothing from that standpoint. So let's do this. That is your R135. It does change from time to time. The little doghouse you see on the side of the plane, and certain aircraft, and then, of course, you got that Pinocchio nose on there. But that's going to be your R135. So when you hear me talking about that, it's a reconnaissance plane, a very powerful reconnaissance plane, not to the degree of something like a Q4 or even maybe the Globalized, which I'll show you here in a second when we get into the civilian side. And even though it is kind of a blend of military stuff too, but just give you kind of a general idea of what we're talking about here. Okay. All right, let's get into the drone. This one here you see up in the North Dakota area, that's going to be a Q9 drone. That's the one that has basically a propeller on the back end of it. It's it can hang some serious hang time, stay aloft for a long period. The Global Hawk, that is a Q4, I think it can hang for like 18 hours. So I imagine the Q9 is probably, it seems like it could go longer just because anyway. All right, that's a Q4. Now that one's running along the East Coast up near Virginia Beach, Norfolk, into kind of the Jersey Shore side of the house. And that one is very powerful. It has been up several times now. They've got something they're looking at along that area. Could be in the water, could be on the beach. I don't know. But and then we get over here to Europe. You're going to see that snake tongue again, taking off out of kind of the toe and Malta area, general region, as they always do, and then heading up kind of over. Let's see. I think that's Istanbul. Yeah, it looks like, and then up to kind of the western side or right over Constanta. But Istanbul is very interesting, and the fact they're over the water right there is also very interesting because that is a pinch point. And if things go hot, shutting off Russia's ability to float things through the Istanbul port and getting into the Black Sea is going to be key. All right, this is going to be your civilian stuff. These are the ones that just kind of give you a general idea. We'll look at the planes here in a minute. These are coming out of Sweden. This is probably going to be a little Global Eye aircraft, and I'll show you what that looks like in a minute. But just notice, as always, on a daily basis, these guys are running routes along Belarus, along right there, the border of Ukraine and Poland. Just a heavy duty back and forth. Now we get over to the U.S. This is more of a civilian aircraft, whereas the ones over there are kind of contracted in with the military side. So it's kind of a blend, a hybrid, you'd say. That, I think, is in New Jersey. I believe that right there is just a calibration flight. We've seen the Mil Intel aircraft, not balloons, but aircraft do that quite frequently. So that part is not. That's over Virginia. They definitely got eyes on something. And then notice they bump down, get a little gas, and go because they don't have air refueling capability. And then they head down into Central America, where we'll have to see if we get anything happening down here. But they've got eyes on something in Honduras. Probably flew into XPL, if I had to guess, into that area. So, all right, let me do this. I'm going to show you what the Global Eye looks like. If we get over into Japan, and you'll just notice as I kind of spin around here, take us down to Philippines. Again, this is another reconnaissance aircraft that's doing some work down here in the Philippines. Remember, too, we've got base locations down there now. So that is probably why it's in the region. But this is a forward operating base for us for when Taiwan goes hot, because Taiwan's just right up the street, okay? So let's look at the Global Eye. This is what that aircraft is. Sweden flies them. UAE flies them. There's a handful of other countries that have them out there, but you can see it's got kind of like that surfboard thing on the top. We've seen some 737s similar down in Australia that fly the same thing, but you can see just looking at all over the aircraft, look at all the little extra fins and things that are added to it, like the tail, for example. Those are, you got all kinds of antennas off this thing. If you get down up underneath the forward fuselage, you can actually see there's there's a camera there with a bunch of high-tech stuff on it too. So this is what we are looking at. That and in this Brio 68 right here is another one, just kind of another variant. Again, you notice the little doghouse on the bottom up underneath the fuselage, and it is just chock full of intelligence equipment. So, okay, that's going to be our civilian intel stuff mixed with a little bit of military. I guess really the civilian intel side is really DoD contractor stuff or Sweden contractor stuff. Okay. All right, we get out here. This is going to be your sub hunters we're looking at now. Notice we got one that kind of just disappears as it heads up over towards Alaska. Got one inbound from Hawaii. And then, of course, we get over to Europe. Florida is the normal, just, flurry of stuff. Europe, we got a little activity up in the northern side where we just looked at that one P8, northern side of the UK. And notice, again, just like we saw when we were looking at our watch list, same area kind of running down into that north side of Africa, Tunisia, getting a look at something. And then we've got this activity here, again, over that water between Greece and Turkey, rolling right up to that pinch point, which is going to be the access into the Black Sea in Istanbul, okay? So, again, these are going to be data points, just pretty important to pay attention to, all right? All right, back over here to the mini-me map. Let's get into the news and see what's going on in the world, all right? So this is Forward Observer. Like I said the other day on Friday, if you don't have this, you definitely want to add it into your quiver. There's a special going on right now. It's like $1 that gives you 30 days, and at the end of it, you can just cancel if you don't feel like you're getting anything out of it. I will tell you, it's $10 a month. I pay, and it is well worth it. If you want to know what's going on in the world, these guys are, most of them are either forward observers or mill intel, or they are SF guys, right? Retired. But they just got a really good beat on what's going on in the world. So check this out. Here we go. Western countries will send 321 tanks to Ukraine. So what we see going on is a transition into a ground war campaign. We'll also notice that they're starting to train pilots. Keep in mind, and we'll look at this in a second when we get into the NOTAMs, Russia controls the airspace over Ukraine. And nothing coming and going in there without them having eyes on it and shooting it down. So right now they dominate it. If we introduce fighters into that arena, it's going to get interesting very quickly. I don't think Ukraine can actually do it without the assistance of NATO and a big heavy hand with the United States. It's just not, they're just not capable. Okay. At the end of the day, yeah. Nonetheless, 321 tanks into Ukraine is not a good thing. It just goes to show you that the war is now transitioning over to a new arena. All right. Let's get over to Flashbang, see what he's got going on. Looks like he's en route to Baltimore, Maryland today. We're going to look at the TFRs here in just a second. Talking about some Baltimore Potomac Tunnel, Secretary of Transportation, which we know who that is. He is actually a former WEF graduate, and that's a booty gig. And yeah, he doesn't have a clue at what he's doing, so really shouldn't be in that position. Anyway. All right, that's going to be what Biden is up to. Let's take a look at it on the map and see how it looks from a TFR perspective. We've got a lot of moving pieces here today. This is all the ice coming through center of the state, right here where I am. And then we get over here to the East Coast. This is why you saw the fighters up over southern Georgia and into the Carolinas, or at least the air refuelers in that region. This is going to be Bob Marley and the Whalers headed down here. And this is, notice the size of the TFRs, very small, right? Then we get up here to old Flashbang, and this is kind of interesting when you look at it. This is your regular red one. This is him going to Baltimore. This looks like he's headed home, and this is somebody, i.e. Flashbang, headed up to New York. It is kind of a weird shape. I don't know why they did it like this, but Looks like he's got something coming up here in New York in the coming days. Who knows? It could be UN. I don't know. We'll figure it out here as it comes into play. But if we look at the date on it, 31st. So it's tomorrow. So something going on tomorrow. Anyway. All right. But it's just a data point for you, all right? Just so you can see. And then, of course, all this slop and mess coming off the East Coast. It's like it's always out there. And then, of course, looking at the West Coast to see if any of this makes it over. Got another, looks like another wave of stuff headed your direction, California. But let's see, they've put some stuff out here somehow and managed to get that stuff to shift to Canada. So, okay, let's get away from that. Let's get over here to our immigration map. Just to take a look and notice we've got stuff coming in from interior of our country. All right. So that's a pretty good indicator we're moving some immigrants. Notice where it's going down to. This is interesting. I don't know if they're taking them out or bringing them in. Probably. You hope they're taking them out. But it looks like it's coming out of Milwaukee, headed down to Los Cabos. And then we've got, let's see, El Paso to Alexandria. That's stuff you want to see. Same thing here, headed down to Cancun. I don't really know what's going on down there. But it's a light day compared to what we normally see. But it's always concerning when you see this stuff going on the interior side, all right? Okay, over to the NOTAMs. Give this a second to refresh. And let's take a look here. We'll go over. I'm going to pop up the global turbulence just for a millisecond here, see what we've got. Anything? Yeah. Now, notice these boxes. This is where I always say, this right here, this is NOAA. These are the weather guys popping in and out. Are they dropping some stuff to keep this from getting into California? That is a very good question. But just notice here, airspace in accordance with the National Winter Storms Ops Plan. NOAA C-130J, call sign Teal 72. That's usually a hurricane hunter. Will conduct weather surveillance in that area. Again, we've seen pictures of, if you watch Weather Channel or anything like that, you'll see them actually show them pushing out cargo boxes out of the back, supposedly conducting experiments into this area. I don't know. We'll just keep an eye on it. But let's see if this stuff dissipates or if it continues to come in. That'll be the telltale sign of something is going on. And this is also the same thing, but this is going to be a little Gulfstream 4, little G4, call sign NOAA 49er weather surveillance flight. Okay. All right. Over to the United States. Notice we got some activity going on down here to the south side of here. I do find it interesting. This is a mil-op danger area. But notice the turbulence just right dead in the middle of all of it. That's kind of interesting. Not that it means anything. I'm just pointing that out. All right. If we set it into motion, that stuff just kind of rolls right on through. So, okay. Let's see here. Little danger boxes off in Norfolk. Remember, this is where we're seeing that Q4 drone running right back and forth in here, looking at something off that coastline. More than likely. And so, again, danger area. All right. And let's see. Looks like that one. Let's see if that's space ops or what we have going on here. No, it's mil ops. All right. So you got some mil ops happening right there off of Central Florida. Okay. I'm going to head over here to Europe so we can just look at this. Now, as I said, if Ukraine's talking about putting aircraft into their region, keep in mind that this is a big no-fly zone, and Russia controls it. All right, it goes all the way down here to Crimea, which is Russia, and then they've got. Notice that the box bounces into Belarus. If you get into Ukraine, we start looking at that here in a minute. You'll see that that activity is pretty much border to border. And they definitely control the airspace. So, okay, let's do this. I want to, as we talked about Biden real fast, I do want to show you something here. I thought this was an interesting data point for you. Representative Andy Biggs out of Arizona says, all right, this is over on Instagram. Biden stole classified documents and stored them at his think tank while he was vice president. The VP does not have any authority to declassify classified documents. And this think tank received $54 million in funding from good old China. So, yeah, let your head wrap around that one for a minute. And then as we get into some of this other, I do want to share this with you. I ran across it, and I thought it was a very interesting data point. This is kind of segueing back to the point when he was a VP, and it's something we need to have eyes on, okay, before we get into all the Middle East and all the other news stuff. Check this out. This is a data point for you, okay?
Most engaged and hardest working participants here at the annual meeting.
Dr. Schwab, I'm flattered you'd asked me to keynote. You've written extensively on the topic that you've asked me to speak to, mastering the fourth industrial revolution. Mastering the fourth industrial revolution.
And you see, the difference of this fourth industrial revolution is it doesn't change what you are doing. It changes you. If you take a genetic editing, it changes you. If you take a genetic editing, it changes you. If you take a genetic editing.
And I have to say, in my memory, you were one of the most engaged and hardest working participants here at the annual meeting.
Yeah, let that sit in. Genetic editing. That's pretty crazy. So anyway, this kind of takes us into the Great Reset, just so you guys don't lose sight of it. There are a lot of actions going on within this. You may remember we go back about 8 months ago, and a lot of the stuff wasn't really in play. But today, most of it is in play. So if we kind of zoom in on it, you can see all of the things that are part of this Great Reset plan and ways that they take advantage and implement their plan. So when they have a crisis situation, they use that. Remember, never let a good crisis go to waste. And so this is what we're kind of looking at here. Notice you got food crisis, right? We're right in the middle of all of that stuff. Human-made environmental disasters. We're sitting here watching all of this weather modification flights going on, right? Natural disasters. We see it all around the world today. It's nothing new, really. Extreme weather, infectious diseases, right? Keep that one in mind. Don't lose sight of that. Not all of it is actually in play yet, okay? But then you have right there, dead center, climate action failure. That's going to be their big hinge pin for this whole thing. It's why it's the biggest diamond in the Great Reset, and that has to do with carbon footprints and basically that beast system that we read about in Revelation 13 with their ability to track everything you do. Because if they're tracking your carbon output, they know exactly what you're consuming, okay? Now, water crisis. We see that bubbling into the headlines. And then, of course, you got cyber attacks. What just happened to FAA, their system, and all the other stuff, social instability. We see that everywhere around the planet right now. These state collapses, you know, we see countries where everybody is just kind of crumbling. So, you know, they don't have the ability to actually put somebody in play. Look at UK, for example. How many PMs have they gone through in the last 4 years, right? Then you got asset bubbles. We're watching the housing market right now, you know, lock up and start to collapse. Some countries, it's already collapsed. So anyway, this is just a data point for you. Like I said, it is one of many things that, you know, it just keeps, as you watch the news take shape around the world, every one of these things start to come into play. Like I said, 8 months ago, a lot of this stuff was not really on the forefront. It was onesie-twosies like forced immigration, things like that. So anyway, just don't want you to lose sight of that, okay, as we kind of get into all of this, all right? Okay, now let's break away from that, get back over here, and let's start kind of peeling the onion on cyber attacks, right? We just talked about that on the WEF side of the house. Look at the stuff coming inbound. Again, we're on probably month 5 where the United States is just getting absolutely hammered just look at the stuff coming inbound. These are attacks on our country from a cyber perspective, okay? Then we get over here to this other side. This one, just today alone, we're not even, it's 11:30 a.m. Central Time. 22 million attacks just today. Just today. Now, this only shows the big ones. There's no way it's going to capture all of it on the screen. If it was 22 million, we'd be, you just wouldn't see it. But anyway, you can just see all the shots being volleyed back and forth. The United States is kind of going proactive on a lot of this, and we seem to be hitting our own areas, which I find interesting. They may just be doing, this may be some counter cyber stuff that when you see it coming inbound to our own country. But anyway, pretty fascinating to say the least. Okay, so we talk about the Middle East. We talk about all the things that are going on out there right now. Check this out. A blast at a mosque in Pakistan kills at least 47 people. You can see pictures here where it happened. Just big piles of rubble. It's a heck of a blast. Anyway, just a data point for you, all right? Then we get over here to this one. Drones reportedly attack convoy in southeast Syria coming from Iraq. So they are starting to volley shots back and forth. Syria seems to be the hotbed. If you look at the map in Syria, just notice the amount of stuff happening up on the north side and then down on the south side. That little green patch you see with the drone icon down on the bottom towards me, that is actually kind of touches into Iraq. That's an area the U.S. frequents. But keep in mind, too, when you get to Syria, down on the south side, that's going to be that's touching right up onto Israel, okay? But you have, like I mentioned before, Iran, Turkey, Russia, the United States, and now Iraq, it looks like, all inside this country. It is one giant hotbed. But you just don't really see this stuff really on the news. I mean, I know this is Yahoo. They do talk about this, things from time to time, but for the most part, this is coming out of Politico. You don't really hear about this stuff going on in the Middle East. All right. Now let's get over here. This is old Benji, and Benji or BB, whatever they call him. All right. He vows a strong, swift response to the deadliest Palestinian terror attack in over a decade. Yeah, he's pretty mad, and when he gets mad, he gets results. So let's get over here and take a quick gander at Israel, and you can see what's going on here. Now, I will tell you this. From our standpoint in the United States, most people don't realize just how messed up it is in Israel. You always hear about, pray for the peace of Israel, things like that. I will tell you, until I went there and actually drove around and saw what I was looking at, I had no idea this happens every single day over there. It's absolutely crazy, especially when you get up into the PA side of the house. There is like I said, there is a barbed wire fence that stands about 12 feet high that runs the entire perimeter of that. It's not open. And within that, as you get across into just, from Israel into that PA occupied area, there are mines. And I mean, they got signs everywhere, minefield. So you don't just go hopping across that. And it is all the way top to bottom. It's pretty crazy. But if you get down here in the bottom, almost directly across from me, and you notice the blue discs, those are shots that are being fired from Gaza Strip. Okay, that's them popping off rounds. And then you'll notice just above that, you'll see the icon that's got the vehicle. The air defense vehicle. That's basically the Iron Dome that knocked out some stuff. But you can see Gaza's going very hot. And then you've got all that activity going on up in the West Bank. It is, like I said, it is definitely heating up over there. And Israel right now is on high alert, all right? Especially as we get into a few more of these items, you'll see why, all right? Okay, now this is coming from, let's see, Defense Post. Poland will send 60 additional tanks to Ukraine. Remember, we were looking over here, Forward Observer. We talked about a total of 321 tanks. So looks like Poland is anteed up for an additional 60 tanks. That's the key word there. All right, headed into Ukraine. Yeah, we are. It's the face of this war is about to change dramatically. So Pay close attention because this could be how we get sucked into it, all right? All right. Now, over here on Zero Hedge, UK Defense Committee Chair calls for a massive arms factory in Poland. Yeah. Now, we get over to our map, like I show even here, if we go over to Europe and you start taking a look at what's going on, remember, this is a lot of the, if we kind of zoom in here, okay, this is going to be Poland. This is Belarus, pro-Russia, all right? This is Russia. So on Poland's north, Kaliningrad, you got Russia right there. And you got a little border there between the two of Lithuania, Belarus. So if they start putting in, we see a lot of activity being delivered down here. This is a forward operating base. It is very close to the battlefield, especially if this goes hot with tanks and fighters, okay? Wanting to put an arms manufacturing location here is probably as stupid as putting F-22s and F-35s right here just outside of Warsaw because they are within range. So if these things get taken offline, you know, you're going to end up, of course, that's going to be one of the first things they pop, okay? And so, yeah, not good, really not good. I don't know. I'm not running this war, but I'm just saying it's pretty stupid. They're saying if they do it, it'll basically take pressure off of the West to provide things. I back that part up, but more than likely, the West will be the one setting up the factory. You know how it works, right? It'll be our Bohica for the day, okay? Now, here's another one for you. It looks like Israel has been basically dinged as the ones behind the strike, the drone strike on the Iranian factory. This is where I guess the irony is. We basically sold them out. Now, more than likely, they had help from us. Okay, if you look over here into Iran and, you know, we see, I don't know if you've seen the strike, I'll kind of throw it up here, turn the sound off so you can just see it. But this is, boom, you can see the hit. That one wasn't very big. There were a couple that were massive, all right? But anyway, let's get down here. I want to look closer at Iran so you can see the map. This is where we are today. It's basically these red dots. When I go from map to map, these dots actually change what they mean. Okay, there's no consistency. It is basically the legend per region varies. Okay, so I have to explain it. The red dots are going to be Iranian airstrips or bases, all right, military locations along that border. Notice it's a border right up to Iraq, all the way down across the Persian Gulf. The blue dots are U.S. bases for the most part, okay? And then, of course, we've got carrier fleet and all kinds of stuff inside the Persian Gulf, okay? But this is Iran. Now, this is the interesting thing. This is the map, and you'll notice they're pointing out a ship right there in the Persian Gulf, but it says mainstream media speculated that the attack on this particular base was carried out by U.S. force assisted by one more country. So that would indicate that they believe the United States and Israel were the ones that did the drone strikes on these locations. Now, if that is the case, that's another reason why Israel is on high alert, okay? But I just find it interesting that we basically throw them directly under the bus right out of the gate. It just goes to show you our loyalty is about zip, okay, when it comes to Israel, all right? All right, let's get back over here and move on. We've got France considering transferring fighter aircraft to the Ukraine. This is what I was talking about. France is one of the first ones that's really serious about putting some Eurofighters over there. Again, this will change everything. As I showed you in the NOTAM, this is all controlled airspace. If you go to any of the airports in Kiev, anything like that, nothing is flying because it'll get shot down. Nothing comes and goes. So when you hear about Pelosi flying into Kiev, not likely. All right, that's why I think there's. I just don't see it. Okay, there's a reason why if we take an R-135 and we go zinging in and out of this area, we won't fly into these areas just to the south of Crimea. It's because Crimea has S-400 missile defense systems in the region with a 146-mile range. And if we get into this, we breach this box, they're going to lock onto us and probably take us down. Okay. So we fly our drones right out here, get as much intel as we can gather from that distance, and then we come back with same thing with the R-135s. We get kind of along here so we can get a side view of what's going on here. Okay. But anyway, let's move back on over here where we were and get into kind of the Army, Biggs Army Airfield and the movement of goods. Okay. So Biggs is pretty quiet today. I will tell you, not too much on the board. As you can see, it's nothing really showing. If I get into the arrivals, even over the weekend, there really wasn't anything. The last flight out was last Thursday. That was an Atlas Air, probably carrying some equipment. Okay. Get over to Ramstein. Changes a little bit. We do have a camber flight that's going to be either soldiers or things that go boom coming in from Dover. Notice, too, we've got an Air Transport International coming in from Portsmouth, and it's not listed as a camber flight. So very likely this is carrying equipment or, supplies into Ramstein. Navy Logistics Bird. All right, we get down here. Notice you've got this 767-300 coming in from Baltimore. Again, Atlas Air. All right, so Atlas is moving a lot of stuff, and then they're going to roll back out of here, headed back to Baltimore, Washington, probably empty if I had to guess, or taking something back that, returnable containers or something. I don't know. And we got to reach. That's going to be a C-17 going to destination unknown. All right. Boxer 41, I think that's a C-130. But, all right, it's going to be Atlas Air. We just show this because it's important to see where some of these flights are coming and going from. Just notice the green dots that are lit up. That means there's flights either rolling inbound or outbound out of these areas. Notice most of it is Europe. We've got some stuff going into the UK. These are going to be heavy lifts. So you're talking 747-400s for the most part, right? Like there's a 747-800. And these are heavy movers, okay? So that's Atlas Air. Just kind of give you a general idea. Notice a lot of stuff coming and going out of Seoul, Korea. And I even got some stuff going into China. Not a surprise. Probably Hong Kong or something, okay? All right, this is going to be Coletta Air, and these guys also, big government contractor. They do a lot of moving of large things too, okay? Notice you got this one headed down to Australia. Not really one of the normal routes these guys take. That's probably military related, all right, from LAX to Sydney. Maybe. Don't know for sure. And then you got this one coming out. Looks like to be Bahrain or... let's see where that one originated. Yeah, BAH. Yeah, it's going to be Bahrain or Bahrain. I don't know. Someone will tell me how to correctly say it. But, and then we get over here. This is camber flights. So this would be more than likely troop movements. All right. Just notice the flurry of activity coming out of the Middle East. Just getting airborne. So we probably just delivered a bunch of troops down there. And then you've got one here. Looks like it's coming out of HHN. That's up here and headed, looks like, let me see. This is over Turkey right now at 39,000 feet. And we'll see where it goes. That's Syria. Don't see him flying over Syria, honestly. So it's probably going to start on a descent here shortly. More than likely, we're putting some more troops in Turkey. And sorry, I say that's Syria. That's Iraq. This is Syria. So, yeah, I just don't see them. They could be going into Iraq, maybe, because we do have a lot of stuff going on down there. So, but, yeah, anyway, we will just keep an eye on it, see where they go, nonetheless, all right? All right, Omni Air's got nothing. Very unusual for them to have nothing up right now. So it looks like there's a little bit of a pause. May have some aircraft in maintenance, and it's taking them out of the cycle. So we'll continue to watch it. They do. I mean, last SITREP, they had some flights up too. So, all right, it's going to be your Brits. And let's kind of get into it. See, this one's rolling out of Cyprus. And that one's actually just really rolling. It's, it's low and slow. So I think it looks like it's almost on ground there. So, and then this one looks to be coming out of that region, headed back to the UK. And we've got one inbound. If I had to look closer, I'd say it's going to Patrick Air Force Base. So, yeah, that one is definitely headed to Patrick. All right. Last one here. It's going to be Guam. We're going to take a look at the Pacific and see if we got any big movers coming and going. And we do. We've got an arrival there coming out of Hano. That's a 747-400. Probably moving some big equipment into the area. And then I don't see it yet. There's the outbound. Okay. And then we still got another one coming in also. So that looks like that one is coming in from Misawa. And another Atlas Air, again, 747-400. And then this one is going to roll out, head to Yokota Air Base in Tokyo, Japan. A couple of Navy flights here. And that's going to be it for Guam, but very active, actually, for the region. So, all right, listen, I know I went long. It's 45 minutes, a lot to cover. And like I said, keep your eyes on the Middle East. There is a lot of things moving in that general area right now. We've been watching the R-135s run over the Persian Gulf for quite some time. The fact that we had a drone strike, pretty good indicator. It looks like it was Israel, probably helped by the United States, taking something out. When our R-135 was running back and forth, we were probably locking on to areas that we needed to cease and desist, if I had to guess. And the fact that Israel came in and did it, they would probably have to have our assistance to get over the region because most of the Muslim countries are not going to allow Israel to fly over their airspace. So it tells you the U.S. probably had to help them out. Okay. All right, listen, that's going to do it for today. You guys remember, keep that powder dry and stay frosty, and we will see you on Wednesday. God bless. Monkey out. Check out the latest gear and products at monkeyworxus.com.